What if the small decisions you make today are quietly determining the success you'll achieve years from now? Why do some people create extraordinary wealth, strong relationships, and lasting success, while others with similar talent never reach their full potential? In The Compound Effect, best-selling author Darren Hardy reveals that life-changing success doesn't come from luck, talent, or overnight breakthroughs. It comes from the small, consistent actions we repeat every single day. Tiny choices may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time they compound into extraordinary results or devastating consequences. In this complete summary, we'll explore the timeless principles of discipline, consistency, responsibility, and long-term thinking that can transform every area of your life. Let's begin by discovering why the smallest actions often create the biggest results. In the introduction, we discovered that extraordinary success is rarely the result of one big decision. According to Darren Hardy, it is the outcome of countless small choices repeated consistently over time. This simple but powerful principle is what he calls the compound effect. Just as money can grow through compound interest, our daily habits also compound. Every small decision either moves us closer to the life we want or slowly pulls us away from it. One of the book's central ideas is that success doesn't happen overnight. Modern society often celebrates dramatic transformations, making it seem as if successful people suddenly appeared at the top. But behind every great achievement are years of consistent effort, discipline, and patience. The results may become visible overnight, but the work that created them was built quietly over time. Another powerful lesson is that small choices matter far more than we realize. Choosing to read a few pages instead of scrolling through social media may seem insignificant today. Exercising for 30 minutes, saving a small amount of money, learning one new skill, or improving one habit may not immediately change your life. However, when these actions are repeated every day, they begin to produce extraordinary results. In the same way, small negative habits often appear harmless at first but gradually create serious problems if left unchanged. The book also explains why many people underestimate the power of consistency. We naturally expect immediate rewards from our efforts. When we don't see quick results, we become discouraged and give up. Darren Hardy reminds us that the compound effect works quietly in the background. For a long time, it may seem as if nothing is happening. But eventually, the accumulated results become impossible to ignore. What once appeared to be a small effort turns into remarkable progress. Another important principle is taking complete responsibility for your life. It is easy to blame luck, circumstances, or other people for our problems. However, lasting success begins when we accept that our daily choices shape our future. Every decision, whether it's how we spend our time, what we learn, how we manage our money, or the habits we repeat, gradually builds the life we experience. Responsibility is not about blaming yourself. It is about recognizing the power you have to change your direction. The author also emphasizes that consistency is more important than intensity. Many people work extremely hard for a few days and then stop completely. Others make small improvements every single day without seeking immediate results. Over time, the second approach almost always wins because consistency allows the compound effect to work in your favor. Perhaps the greatest message in this part is that your future is not determined by one extraordinary moment. It is built through ordinary decisions repeated with discipline and patience. Every positive choice is like planting a seed. At first, nothing seems to change. But with enough time and consistency, those small seeds grow into opportunities, confidence, success, and lasting achievement. As these lessons come together, one timeless truth becomes clear. The life you live tomorrow is being created by the choices you make today. Every small decision matters, even when its impact is invisible at first. In the next part, we'll explore how habits quietly control our lives, why momentum is one of the most powerful forces behind success, and how changing just a few daily routines can completely transform your future. In the previous part, we discovered that small choices, repeated consistently, shape the direction of our lives. But this leads to an important question. Why do some habits become so powerful that they determine our success or failure? Darren Hardy explains that the answer lies in momentum. Just as a tiny snowball rolling down a hill gradually becomes larger and more powerful, our daily habits grow stronger every time we repeat them. One of the book's most important lessons is that habits are the invisible force behind almost every result in life. Most of the decisions we make each day are automatic. We wake up, check our phones, eat, work, spend money, and react to situations without giving much thought to our actions. Because these habits feel normal, we often underestimate their long-term impact. Yet it is these repeated behaviors, not our occasional efforts, that shape our future. Another powerful idea is that success and failure are rarely created by one major event. Instead, they are built through hundreds of small decisions made over months and years. A person who chooses to learn a little every day gradually becomes an expert. Someone who saves a small amount regularly eventually builds financial security. On the other hand, repeatedly delaying important tasks, spending carelessly, or neglecting personal growth may seem harmless today, but over time these habits produce disappointing results. The book also emphasizes the importance of awareness. Before you can improve your habits, you must first recognize them. Many people know where they want to go but never stop to examine the behaviors that are taking them in the opposite direction. Hardy encourages readers to honestly observe how they spend their time, energy, and attention. Self-awareness is the first step toward meaningful change because you cannot improve what you refuse to acknowledge. Another valuable lesson is the power of tracking your progress. People naturally pay more attention to what they measure. Whether your goal is improving your health, learning a new skill, saving money, or becoming more productive, keeping a simple record helps you stay accountable. Tracking doesn't guarantee success, but it makes unconscious habits visible and gives you the opportunity to correct them before they become permanent. The author also explains that momentum is one of the greatest advantages you can build. Starting is often the hardest part because results are still invisible. But once positive habits become consistent, they require less effort to maintain. Just as negative habits become difficult to break over time, positive habits also become easier to continue. Every successful day strengthens the next one, creating a cycle that gradually works in your favor. Another timeless principle is that your environment influences your habits more than you may realize. The people you spend time with, the information you consume, and the routines you follow each day quietly shape your decisions. If your environment encourages discipline, learning, and responsibility, maintaining good habits becomes much easier. This is why lasting success often begins by changing not only your actions but also the surroundings that influence those actions. Perhaps the greatest message in this part is that you don't need to transform your entire life in one day. You simply need to improve your daily habits one decision at a time. Small improvements may appear insignificant, but when they are repeated consistently, they create extraordinary momentum that carries you toward long-term success. As these lessons come together, one timeless truth becomes clear. Your habits become your future. The actions you repeat every day quietly determine the person you become and the results you eventually achieve. In the next part, we'll explore how your choices, relationships, and environment either accelerate or limit the compound effect, and how surrounding yourself with the right influences can completely change the direction of your life. In the previous part, we learned that our habits create momentum and quietly shape the direction of our lives. But Darren Hardy explains that habits do not exist in isolation. They are influenced every day by the choices we make, the people we spend time with, and the environment we create around ourselves. If these influences are working against us, even the best intentions become difficult to maintain. If they support our goals, success becomes much more achievable. One of the book's most powerful lessons is that every choice carries a consequence, even when that consequence is not immediately visible. Most people only notice the results of their decisions after months or years have passed. A healthy meal may not transform your body overnight, just as one unhealthy meal will not ruin it. But repeated choices gradually create either strength or weakness, progress or regret. The compound effect is always working, whether we recognize it or not. Another important idea is that the people around you have a tremendous influence on your future. We naturally adopt the attitudes, habits, and expectations of those we spend the most time with. If you surround yourself with people who value discipline, honesty, learning, and responsibility, those qualities begin to shape your own behavior. On the other hand, Constant exposure to negativity, excuses, and complacency can slowly lower your standards without you even realizing it. The book also emphasizes the importance of guarding the information you consume. Every day, your mind is influenced by conversations, news, social media, books, and entertainment. These inputs gradually shape your thinking, your beliefs, and your decisions. Hardy encourages readers to become intentional about what they allow into their minds. Filling your life with positive knowledge, practical education, and inspiring ideas creates a mindset that supports long-term growth. Another valuable lesson is that small disciplines create extraordinary freedom. Many people believe discipline limits their happiness, but the opposite is often true. Financial discipline creates financial stability. Health discipline creates physical strength. Learning discipline creates greater opportunities. The temporary discomfort of discipline eventually produces lasting rewards, while the temporary comfort of poor decisions often creates long-term difficulties. The author also reminds us that setbacks are a normal part of every journey. Everyone experiences mistakes, failures, and unexpected challenges. The difference is that successful people refuse to let one bad decision become a permanent habit. Instead of giving up after a setback, they quickly return to the daily actions that move them toward their goals. Consistency is not about perfection. It is about continuing even after imperfection. Another timeless principle is that success is built through intentional living. Instead of allowing life to happen by chance, take ownership of your choices each day. Ask yourself whether your actions are moving you closer to the person you want to become. Every positive decision strengthens your future, even if today's progress feels too small to notice. Perhaps the greatest message in this part is that your environment does not determine your destiny. Your daily responses to that environment do. By choosing the right influences, protecting your mindset, and remaining consistent with your habits, you gradually create a life that reflects your values instead of your circumstances. As these lessons come together, one timeless truth becomes clear. Extraordinary success is never the result of one extraordinary decision. It is the result of ordinary decisions made wisely and consistently over time. In the next part, we'll explore how persistence, resilience, and long-term commitment allow the compound effect to produce remarkable results in every area of life. In the previous part, we learned that our choices, environment, and daily influences quietly shape the direction of our lives. But Darren Hardy explains that even with the right habits and the right mindset, success still requires one quality that many people overlook: persistence. The compound effect only produces extraordinary results for those who remain committed long enough to experience its rewards. One of the book's greatest lessons is that most people quit too soon. They begin with excitement, work hard for a few days or weeks, and then lose motivation because they don't see immediate results. This is where many dreams come to an end. Hardy reminds us that the compound effect works beneath the surface for a long time before its results become visible. Just because you cannot see progress today doesn't mean progress isn't happening. Another powerful idea is that consistency creates confidence. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, whether it's exercising, reading, saving money, learning a skill, or completing an important task, you strengthen your belief that you can be trusted. This quiet confidence doesn't come from positive thinking alone. It comes from repeatedly proving to yourself that your actions match your commitments. The book also explains that setbacks are inevitable, but failure is not. Every successful person experiences disappointment, unexpected obstacles, and difficult seasons. The difference is that they refuse to let temporary setbacks become permanent excuses. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" they ask, "What can I learn from this experience?" This mindset allows every challenge to become another step toward future success rather than a reason to stop moving forward. Another valuable lesson is the importance of staying focused on your long-term vision. Many people sacrifice meaningful goals for temporary comfort because the immediate reward feels more attractive than the future benefit. The compound effect teaches us to think beyond today's emotions and make decisions that our future selves will appreciate. Every disciplined choice made today becomes an investment in tomorrow. The author also reminds us that success is rarely dramatic. Most meaningful achievements are built quietly through ordinary routines repeated with extraordinary consistency. People often notice the final result but overlook the years of preparation, discipline, and patience that made it possible. The greatest victories are usually the result of thousands of small actions that seemed insignificant when they were first taken. Another timeless principle is learning to celebrate progress instead of waiting for perfection. Every positive habit you strengthen, every distraction you overcome, and every responsible decision you make is evidence that you are moving in the right direction. Small victories build momentum, and momentum creates lasting transformation. Perhaps the greatest message in this part is that your future belongs to the person who refuses to give up. Talent may create opportunities, but persistence turns opportunities into lasting success. The compound effect rewards those who remain faithful to the process even when the results are still invisible. As these lessons come together, one timeless truth becomes clear. Great success is not achieved by making one extraordinary effort. It is achieved by making ordinary efforts consistently for an extraordinary length of time. In the next part, we'll explore how the compound effect becomes a lifelong philosophy, helping you build success, meaningful relationships, financial responsibility, and personal growth through small daily actions that continue to multiply year after year. In the previous part, we discovered that persistence is the bridge between small daily actions and extraordinary long-term results. But Darren Hardy explains that the compound effect is more than a strategy for achieving goals. It is a philosophy for living. Once you understand this principle, you begin to realize that every decision you make today is quietly shaping the person you will become tomorrow. One of the book's most powerful lessons is that success is never owned. It is rented, and the rent is due every single day. No achievement lasts forever without continued effort. Good habits must be maintained, valuable relationships must be nurtured, knowledge must continue to grow, and discipline must be practiced consistently. The moment we stop investing in these areas, the compound effect begins working in the opposite direction. Another important idea is that personal growth is a lifelong journey. Many people believe success is a destination they will eventually reach, but Hardy reminds us that there is always another lesson to learn and another opportunity to improve. Every day offers a new chance to become a little wiser, healthier, more disciplined, and more responsible than the day before. Small improvements may seem insignificant, but over years they create a remarkable difference between an average life and an extraordinary one. The book also emphasizes the importance of living with intention. Instead of allowing circumstances to control your future, make conscious decisions that reflect your values and long-term goals. Every hour you spend learning, every promise you keep, every act of discipline, and every positive habit you repeat becomes another investment in the life you are building. The compound effect rewards intentional living because consistent actions eventually produce consistent results. Another valuable lesson is that true success includes every area of life. It is not measured only by money or career achievements. Strong character, healthy relationships, physical well-being, emotional maturity, and a willingness to keep learning are equally important. When your daily habits support all of these areas together, you create a balanced and meaningful life rather than success in one area at the expense of another. The author also reminds us that your greatest competition is not other people. It is the person you were yesterday. Comparing yourself with others often creates discouragement, but comparing yourself with your previous self creates progress. If you are becoming more disciplined, more knowledgeable, and more responsible each day, you are already moving in the right direction. Lasting success is built through continuous improvement, not constant comparison. Another timeless principle is that small positive actions never lose their value. A kind word, a wise decision, a disciplined habit, or a few minutes spent learning may seem insignificant today, but these actions accumulate over time. The compound effect quietly multiplies every investment you make in yourself, creating opportunities and results that often appear far greater than the effort that produced them. Perhaps the greatest message in this part is that the future you dream about is created by the habits you practice today. Every consistent choice becomes another brick in the foundation of your future. You may not notice the change immediately, but with patience and persistence, those small actions eventually produce extraordinary outcomes. As these lessons come together, one timeless truth becomes clear. Your life is the sum of your daily choices. When you consistently choose discipline over excuses, learning over comfort, and responsibility over blame, the compound effect begins working in your favor, transforming ordinary actions into extraordinary success. In the final part, we'll bring together the complete message of the compound effect and discover why the smallest decisions you make today have the power to shape the rest of your life. We've reached the end of our journey through the compound effect, and if there's one lesson this book leaves us with, it's this: your future is not shaped by one extraordinary decision. It is shaped by the ordinary decisions you make every single day. Success is rarely the result of luck, talent, or perfect timing. More often, it is the natural outcome of small, consistent actions repeated with discipline, patience, and purpose. Throughout this summary, we've explored why every choice matters, even when its results are invisible at first. We learned that our habits quietly determine the direction of our lives, our environment influences our decisions, and our consistency creates the momentum that leads to lasting success. We also discovered that setbacks are not the end of the journey but opportunities to learn, grow, and return even stronger. The compound effect reminds us that greatness is not built in a single moment. It is built one choice at a time. One of the book's greatest messages is that consistency will always outperform occasional intensity. Many people begin with excitement but stop when progress seems slow. Those who achieve extraordinary results understand that real success requires staying committed long after the initial motivation has disappeared. They trust the process, knowing that every positive action is another investment in the future they want to create. Another powerful lesson is that responsibility gives us freedom. The moment we stop blaming circumstances and begin taking ownership of our choices, we regain the power to change our direction. While we cannot control everything that happens in life, we can always control our habits, our attitude, and the decisions we make each day. Those decisions, repeated consistently, eventually become the foundation of our success. The book also reminds us that meaningful achievement is not limited to wealth or career success. The same principle applies to every area of life. Healthy relationships are built through daily acts of kindness and trust. Strong character is developed through honest decisions made repeatedly. Knowledge grows through continuous learning, and confidence is earned by keeping the promises we make to ourselves. The compound effect quietly influences every part of our lives, whether we realize it or not. Another timeless principle is that patience is one of the greatest strengths a person can develop. We live in a world that often expects immediate results, but the most valuable accomplishments require time. Just as a tree grows slowly before becoming strong, meaningful success is built through countless small actions that accumulate over months and years. Those who remain patient and consistent eventually enjoy rewards that seem impossible to those who give up too early. Perhaps the greatest message of the compound effect is that you already have the power to change your future. You don't need a perfect opportunity, extraordinary talent, or dramatic life changes. All you need is the willingness to make better choices today than you made yesterday. Every positive habit, every responsible decision, and every small improvement becomes another step toward the life you hope to build. Ultimately, this book teaches that success is not an event. It is a process. It is created through discipline instead of excuses, persistence instead of quitting, and long-term thinking instead of short-term comfort. When you consistently choose what is right over what is easy, the compound effect begins working in your favor, turning ordinary actions into extraordinary results. Thank you for joining me on this complete journey through the compound effect by Darren Hardy. If you remember only one lesson from this book, let it be this: small choices may seem insignificant today, but repeated consistently over time, they have the power to completely transform your life. Choose wisely, stay consistent, and trust the process, because extraordinary success is built one small decision at a time.